Today, I want to share with you the story of a man named Lester Isbell. He was 74 years old, a retired preacher, a father, a friend. On February 6, 2025, he entered a small payday loan office in Madisonville, Tennessee, confused, disoriented, and in the middle of a serious medical crisis. He walked in needing help, but he didn't walk out. This is the story of why they are protesting June 3rd, 2025, tomorrow. It started like any normal afternoon. Lester went to Security Finance, a local payday loan business, to make a payment. But the employee there, especially one named Tracy, could tell something was wrong. Lester looked confused. He wasn't making sense. Tracy became so concerned she called 911. On that day, she explained that she had an elderly customer who seemed extremely disoriented. She even told dispatchers she didn't think he should be driving. She wasn't sure if he had dementia, low blood sugar, or something else, but she knew this man needed medical attention. 911 relayed the call, telling first responders to expect an elderly man who was confused, possibly suffering from dementia and in need of assistance. Both EMS and Madisonville police officers were dispatched. When they arrived around 2:30 p.m., EMS evaluated Lester. His vitals were alarming. Blood pressure, 218/110. Oxygen level, 89%. Respiratory rate, elevated. He was zoning in and out of consciousness. EMS said it looked like a hypertensive crisis, possibly a stroke or a heart issue in the making. They warned Lester about the seriousness of his condition. His own daughter begged them to take him to a hospital. She said he'd had episodes before, that he needed care, but instead of getting him an ambulance bed, they wrote him off as uncooperative, and they labeled him disorderly. They had him arrested. At this point, Lester should have been in an ER, but instead he was handcuffed and being taken to the Monroe County Jail. Surveillance and body cam footage shows officers and jail staff forcibly dragging him from the cruiser and into a holding cell. Within minutes of being placed into the cell, Lester collapsed, falling headfirst into a concrete bench. He hit his head hard. He didn't get up, and still, no medical care was provided. Instead of checking his injuries, they strapped him to a restraint chair. They wrapped his arms, legs, and neck and left him there. They left him there for 9.5 hours until he died. No food, no water, no bathroom breaks, no medical checks. And there's footage, disturbing footage, of Lester with a hood over his head, sitting slumped in that chair. Eventually, his body gave out, and Lester died right there in the Monroe County Jail. As you can imagine, this family is devastated, and rightfully so. This wasn't a criminal. This was an elderly man, a grandfather, a father, a friend, a man in crisis, a preacher, but above all else, a human being. He needed help, and instead he got punishment. He needed compassion. Instead he got confinement. And when his body couldn't take any more, he died alone, ignored, and restrained. No one has been held accountable. That's why on Tuesday, June 3rd at 9 a.m., the community is gathering outside the Monroe County Justice Center in Madisonville, Tennessee, to demand justice for Lester Isbell. This is not just a protest. It's a remembrance. It's a call for reform, and it's a demand for accountability. It is hard to think a grandfather and a pastor, a man of God, could ever be treated like this by a law enforcement body that was there to protect people like him. We need justice, and we're asking for anybody that can attend to please attend. God bless you.
Hey guys,
guys, here on the Tiki Talk, Bullhorn Betty, covering true crime. We've been covering a lot of cases here lately. We have Missy Mogul, 5-year-old, unalived in Tallahassee, Florida. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers out of Sumner County, Tennessee, missing, hasn't been recovered, hasn't been found. We've got 2 children out of Nova Scotia, Lily and Jack Sullivan. And here is the newest case that I have found. There's a protest tomorrow in Madisonville, Tennessee, at the Monroe County Justice Center. And again, this is Lester Isbell. He is a grandfather, a preacher, just a good elderly man that was just going about his day and had an extensive medical event. And you would think that any normal community, when you have an elderly man confused and stuff like that, that they would send him to the hospital for evaluation. In this situation, we had a total failure of law enforcement. Law enforcement arrested this man. Instead of sending him to the hospital, they sent him to a holding cell. But in that holding cell, they strapped him to a chair, they put a hood over his head, and they left him there for 9.5 hours, where he ultimately lost his life sitting in that chair when he needed medical attention. And so now the family is very upset. 74-year-old man lost his life because he had a medical event, and untrained law enforcement officers tagged him as uncooperative and took him to jail instead of a hospital. I hope you guys check out my video on this. If you guys are in the Tennessee area, the Madisonville or Monroe County area, if you guys would like to support this family, please go out. They're doing some protesting around 9 a.m. They just want accountability. They want remembrance of this pastor, remembrance of this grandfather, and remind people that there are medical events that cause people disorientation. They don't know what's going on with them. Dementia could be a possibility as well. But he was confused. He didn't deserve to lose his life. He deserved compassion. He deserved help. He deserved help. This could be your grandfather. This could be your family member. So again, if you're in the Monroe County area, Madisonville, Tennessee area, and you would like to help this family out, they will be at the Justice Center at 9 a.m. in the morning. And I'm calling all of my Tennessee family and friends. If you can be there, please be there. This could have been our grandfather. This could have been our father. It could have been our friend. But it wasn't. It was Lester Isbell's family that has to deal with this. So let's raise our voices, let's do it properly, let's do it loudly, and let's seek justice for Lester Isbell. Please check out my video. If you can come out and go out, please go out. If you can go live, go live. I would love to see the results of this protest. And I hope you guys keep his family as well as his grandchildren in your thoughts and prayers. All right, guys, thanks so much for taking the time to learn a little bit about Lester Isbell, a 70-year-old father and pastor that lost his life. All right, guys, take care. We'll see you soon.